Hello, folks. Officer Kelleher, Merrimack PD, back for July's monthly TV show. Thanks for joining me. Today I have a special guest. He actually did another show with me earlier on in the year. Detective Mike Murray. He's also the SRO at the Merrimack High School. Mike, how long have you been SRO?
I'll be starting my 15th year at the high school.
15th year, that's awesome. Mike is well known throughout the state. He is a legend. I just wanted to start this show this July. I just want to ask Mike about, he had a special event with Special Olympics. Mike has been doing Special Olympics for a long time. How long?
All my career. I started as a torch runner when I first started right out of the academy, and then I took on more and more responsibility with Special Olympics. Now I'm help coordinating the runs for Southern New Hampshire. We were just down in New Jersey for the National Games at Princeton University. There was 40 athletes from New Hampshire that 8 policemen drove 8 of the vans and transported them down in minivans, and we stayed and did awards for the week, and it was an awesome time. Long days, long nights, but it was an awesome time.
Now, was there any Merrimack athletes?
Timmy Morin from Merrimack ran track down there. He did very well. And the other athletes were spread out throughout the state.
How do these athletes get chosen to go to the Nationals?
They have their regional games and then the summer state games at UNH, so they're picked from that group. And the New Hampshire athletes did very well. There was a powerlifter, Corey Remelad he's in Manchester, Derry. He got 4 gold medals in powerlifting. The girls' swim team.
In the Nationals?
In the Nationals. The girls' swim team got gold. I believe a bunch of basketball players from Berlin, they got gold. So they did. New Hampshire did very, very well down there.
Very good representation for New Hampshire.
Yep.
Folks, that's the Special Olympics program. Mike, again, he's been doing it for a long time, and he's got a lot of new members from the police department to come up and, join him in doing the awards, all different events, the Winnie Dip, any other events?
We're having Fueling Dreams coming up at the end of July. We won't be pumping the gas, but we'll be washing windows at the Circle K in Bedford on Saturday, July 26th from 10 to 2. If anybody is more than welcome to join us in our torch run, that's always the last week in May. It's typically a Wednesday or Thursday morning, about 8 in the morning. We run the 9 miles through Merrimack. The torch is passed from Nashua PD to us. We pass it on to Bedford, but anybody is more than welcome to join us in the run. We usually get a small donation. You get a T-shirt, and the Legion cooks us a burger when we're done, so more the merrier.
And folks, I've done the 9-mile run the last 3 years. It's not easy, but when you think you can't do it anymore, you think of these athletes and what they go through, and how they push on with the disabilities they have, and that's what fuels me to continue to complete the 9 miles. It's a great honor to do it, and Mike has been spearhead of Merrimack in the law enforcement community, and nationally. Mike has been the New Hampshire representative. He's gone to what other country?
I ran on the Great Wall in China in 2007. I did a national game run in Nebraska in 2010, and then 2013 I went to South Korea for a world game event.
That's great. All right. So, next topic I want to talk about is the hurricane season. We just experienced, a little touch of Hurricane Arthur over the 4th of July holiday event. The parade still went on as scheduled, but the fireworks had to be postponed until Sunday night. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about being prepared. Living in New England, fortunately we don't have to deal with many hurricanes, but over the years, we have had some, hurricanes that kind of, caused some issues in Merrimack and, New Hampshire. And I think a lot of folks, they don't expect it, so they're not prepared. So folks, use this opportunity to educate yourself and prepare your family and yourself. We're here to help and support the people who need the help, but the more of you who are prepared, that helps us help the folks who don't have the ability to maybe help themselves or prepare for such thing as like the elderly and those type of folks. So a couple websites you can go on if you're not sure what you need to be prepared for, or like water, food. They say you should have a 3-day supply of at least water and food at the minimum, per person in your household. So if you go on the the FEMA website or the Red Cross website, you can look at all the the good information and the helpful hints and the tips, what you should have, and so that's just one little part we wanted to talk about today. The next thing we want to talk about is the New Hampshire Cadet Academy. I believe it was last month. That was one of our topics. We had a couple guest speakers. We had Chief Marshall on talking about the New Hampshire Cadet Academy. Myself and Detective Murray, we were able to go up to the Cadet Academy graduation last Friday, and it was a great event. Did you talk to any cadets up there?
I talked to a few. They were very happy they went through. There's one girl that had her brother go through with her, so it's nice that it's kind of passing along through the family, and maybe when they get back they'll tell their peers about it to get more kids involved. I know we're trying to compete with Nashua for the number of cadets that we're going through. We fell short this year, but hopefully next year we can top Nashua, the number of kids that get up to that. So it's a nice exposure to what law enforcement does if they get up there.
I think we had 9 members this year representing Merrimack, which is, I think Nashua had maybe 11 or 12, but 9 members from Merrimack. We were the second largest in the state. Yep. So that's yep. Really good. Anything else you got out of the Cadet Academy?
No, it's nice to see the kids that are interested in law enforcement, to replace us old bucks when we get ready to retire. So it's nice to see there's some interest in law enforcement.
Old bucks, I like that. And that is part of a community, and being a police officer in the town, and you always have to think about people retiring, officers with all that experience retiring, who's gonna come on board and fill your shoes. So it is good to see the interest in law enforcement is still there, and it's nice to see local candidates, good quality candidates coming from your own community. Mm-hmm. And I did talk to many cadets myself, and every one of them had a great experience. The first year members, they were a little taken back for the first couple days. They weren't expecting how strict it was, even though they don't know how strict the official police academy is, but they did get a good taste of discipline and what it takes to become a law enforcement official. Mm-hmm. So that was I was happy to hear the comments from them, and they loved it after the first couple days. They really enjoyed it. I think it's very inspirational to them. I think the ones who had that question mark, whether they really wanted it, I think it really left an imprint in them that now they really do want to become a law enforcement official. So thanks to Steve Marshall for coming on and promoting it on our last show. I think it was one of their largest attended cadets. I'll try to get that information, and I'll air that on my next show. But they had a huge
That's good.
Number of cadets this year, and I think that was it helped with the exposure of Steve Marshall coming on the show and getting it out there. So all right, so let's talk about our next event, Coffee with a Cop. You want to tell the folks what that program's all about, Mike?
So Coffee with a Cop is it's a national movement. It's a community policing movement originated out of California. Officer Kelleher and I went to a session up for a training about how to run one of these things. Basically, it's come out and meet your local police department, local police officers. It's a non-agenda, non-political event. The people that come through the door, we've done 2 now. The people that come through the door are kind of shocked. They're definitely guarded. We try and put their mind at ease. We're not selling anything. We're not promoting anything. It's just we're going to buy you a cup of coffee with the help of the coffee shops. And it's just to say hi. We have had, sometimes the politicians like to show up and start their campaigning, but they're really, quite frankly, not invited. It's a Meet the Policeman Day. So the events are typically in the mornings, non-peak times at the coffee shops. You walk through the door, we hand you an empty cup, and you go up to the counter and the coffee's on the house. And you're more than welcome to speak with the policeman. You don't have to. You can say whatever's on your mind and see who's wearing a badge in your community.
When's our next event, Mike?
There's one Friday, July 11th from 9:30 to 10:30 at Schwann's Chocolate right down here next to the fire station, the center of town. Feel free to come in and see who's wearing a badge.
Come meet your community police officers. That's what the whole program is all about. It's your opportunity to, say whatever's on your mind. Meet officers that you might not know or ever seen before. If you have any concerns or issues in your neighborhood. It's agenda free. You can tell us about anything. You can ask us anything. If we don't have the answer, we'll get back to you and provide you the answer, or guide you in the right direction, where to get the answer. But it's a great program. Like as you said, people come in guarded. I think that's just because this is only our 3rd Coffee with a Cop. It is going to be a monthly event in Merrimack. We will be going around to different locations throughout the town. And it's a great way to partner with businesses in town, with the police department. These businesses, they donate the coffee, and they allow us to use their shop as a venue to host one of these events. So it works good for both the vendor and the department and the community. Maybe some of the staff at the events never met a bunch of the officers, so it gives them an opportunity to meet us, and just sharing information, and that's what keeps Merrimack safe, and that's why Merrimack's the 19th safest community in the country. just these little programs that are, proactive. It doesn't cost money. You don't need a budget for it, and the reward is, twofold. We gain, information. Maybe some of these concerns, we weren't aware of, and now we can try to, take care of the issue, and it helps build good relationship with, the community folks.
Yeah. It's a nice neutral ground too. The coffee shops are kind of, you don't have to go to the local police department. If there's things that you had a question about that you didn't feel like it was important enough to have a policeman come to your house, you don't want to call the police department, they're busy. It's a nice chance for you to get that question answered in a neutral territory.
Yeah, and do they have to file a formal complaint?
Nope, it's just a very casual. It's a casual time to meet the policeman. A lot of times you may see a policeman in an accident, or he's on a call, or you get pulled over. This is a little more relaxed time to have a chance to say hi and see who's serving your community.
So I was able to attend the first Coffee with a Cop, and Mike, I know you attended both of them. I fortunately couldn't make the second one, but I'm looking forward to the third one, and many more after that. It is nice to, I know, just by being at the first one, I met folks that I've never met before in Merrimack, and I've been here 17 years. You think you've seen everybody in town, but there's new people coming into town, people leaving. There's always new folks driving through town, and that's another thing. It's not just for Merrimack residents per se. It's for everybody who uses Merrimack as maybe part of their work day, or in their travel to and from work. So it is good, good for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a good agenda-free zone, and I think as soon as we get done explaining what we were there for, and taking that initial shock away from them, them seeing 6, 7, 8 police officers in one place. Mm-hmm. They always think of the worst, or something's wrong. But I was pleased. They were very open, and generally nice, happy to meet us, and
yeah, you can tell that in the second one, you could tell even some of the policemen was starting to relax a little bit too, because one of the policemen actually put an apron on and was pouring coffee. So the police are starting to have some fun with it too.
And that's what it's all about, right? Yeah. That's the way this program was designed, and I think it's going to get better and better, and hopefully you folks watching the show. It's July 11th, so next Friday, 9:30 to 10:30 at Swan Chocolate, right down by the main Central Fire Station. Come on in, just say hello, and get a cup of coffee, and chat for a few minutes. You don't have to stay. You just say hello. If you have any concerns, there's your opportunity to share them. All right. The last topic we want to talk about, and me and Mike, work with kids as part of our job, and one topic I'm gonna, we want to talk about. It's Detective Murray was, unfortunately, part of this tragic event that took place, and I'll let him talk to you about it, but we're going to talk about some summer safety tips. And the first one is, don't swim alone, and be careful when you go swimming. You want to touch on that, Mike?
Yeah, that we have a place that's I think it's probably in some hiking magazines but they come from all over. Wildcat Falls, which is part of the 80 acres property. Unfortunately, when it's 80, 90 degrees out, kids like to cool off, so they go there. Sometimes there's some partying there, which aggravates things. But this one summer afternoon, some boys were swimming over there, and one of the boys actually drowned. He was a kid that came to see me at the high school almost daily, and very, very tragic. There was no alcohol drinking involved that day, but it was more or less an accident. But because of the strength of the river, when he went under, he couldn't get back up, and his friends weren't strong enough to get him back up, and he lost his life. But we've had some other tragedies in that same stretch of the river. So Wildcat Falls is a beautiful place, but please don't underestimate the strength of hydraulic strength of that river.
Now he was a good swimmer, I was told. He was
Quite.
in good shape, and
Yeah, quite an athlete. Doesn't take much. They call drowning the silent death. It doesn't take much. You gotta know where you are and know your limitations.
if I'm correct, there was the current, which was under the water, because the way the water came into that pool
Yep.
area, it looked really calm up top, but down bottom it was actually swirling underneath the water, and
Yeah,
it pinned them up against the rocks.
yeah. Basically, that river hits a huge stone, and it diverts to both sides. When it hits, some of the water tumbles, and it once he went under, that was it.
So now, and this was, they weren't fooling around or anything. And, he did have friends with him. Unfortunately, by the time they couldn't find him because it was so dark.
Yeah.
They didn't know where he went. And, by the time they called for, emergency, assistance, it was too late. So, unfortunately, accidents do happen right here in Merrimack. We're not immune to accidents in our community. But if you take the safeguard and, you don't take those risks, we can limit the tragic accidents that occur. And we do. We have directed patrols, meaning that, we send officers, down to that area to, monitor and make sure there is no, bad practices going on down in that area, because as fun as it is dangerous.
Same thing if they're going to the ocean, the riptides. I mean, everybody swims in the ocean, but you gotta heed the warnings. And if your kids say they want to go swim in Wildcat Falls, it's risky. It's a lot of it's posted. They're not even allowed to be there. But it's a dangerous spot. And we had quite a bit of rain today. That river will come up pretty quick with the rain. So just know your surroundings and have a backup plan.
So let's talk about, let's finish off not only at Wildcat Falls, but, many people in the community have pools. So never swim alone. Don't allow your kids to, go in the pool by themselves. You never know what's going to happen. You go to, jump in, you slip and fall, you hit your head. You always need that somebody else to, make that 911 call if necessary. Because if you're in the water and, you get a cramp or, whatever happens, you don't have access to, emergency services.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure your kids, obey your rules and, make sure there's at least somebody else around to, call for help if needed. Let's talk about vehicles and dogs and vehicles, Mike. As you can see this week, we've hit some record highs. Temperatures, nearing, 100 degrees. Can you tell the folks, a little bit about, our concerns about leaving a dog in a car?
Yeah, it's pretty inhumane. A lot of people go shopping and they'll crack their windows, a couple inches, let them air in for the dog. It's really inadequate. That car is acting like a greenhouse. The sun's coming in, heating up the inside of the car, and it has nowhere to go. And that little 2 inches at the top of the window isn't going to be enough to move the air through. That dog's hot being outside of the car, especially a day like what today was, where there's very little breeze, there's no air moving to push that hot air out. So I don't know what the actual time is, but it's not going to take long for your dog to be in distress. And we've even seen worst case scenarios where people have kids in their cars. We've had it was a tragedy I remember a few years back where a child succumbed to being in a car and died. So the car gets very hot. You know what it feels like when you open that door after it's sitting out in the parking lot. So imagine being stuck in there for any length of time. It's really unfair. So.
And a lot of it, Mike, is depending on the color of the car. If it's in the direct sun. I know I've tested it myself where the outside temperature might be at 80 degrees, and the inside of a car temperature can be go up 50-60 degrees difference, just because of that being enclosed in that glass keeps the heat in. And your roof, if you have a dark colored car, it's gonna track that sun and keep the heat in the car. So that little 2 inches that you crack your window, all that's doing is letting hot air out so it can create even hotter air. It's not letting cool air in by any means. And even if dogs, they don't perspire like a human. When we get hot, our body's natural defenses, it perspires to cool itself off. Well, speaking to veterinarians, dogs do not perspire, so that's why they overheat really quick, a lot quicker than humans do. So it is very crucial, and it only it takes a matter of minutes for that dog to be in distress, and the internal injuries to their vital organs and their brain and stuff, which you won't even know. It will be too late. So as you folks know, we do have thousands and thousands of people that visit the new Merrimack Outlet Mall, and I remember last summer we've had a bunch of cases where people left their dogs in the car, and we've had to come and take care of the situation. But it is dangerous, real dangerous for dogs or obviously humans. And then if you leave your kid in the car, obviously there's going to be more criminal matters involved there.
Yeah, if you see that stuff, let us know. We'll check that out. If you see kids or dogs or them stuck in their cars, call and we'll come check it out.
Absolutely. And don't try to decide for yourself whether it's been too long for the child or the dog to be left alone. Give us a call and we'll make that determination. We have those meters that we can actually measure the temperature inside the vehicle, which helps, determine if the dog is in distress or not. So I want to talk about a little about, some safety with, teenagers, maybe going to the mall for the first time without their parents. The same rules apply as like the swimming. Always stay, with somebody. Unfortunately, these malls are targets for, predators. When they look for that young child who, wanders away from their parents or the group of friends. So, really, express to your child that, it's very important to stay together and, go together, double up, you'll never become a victim if you stay together. Let's talk a little bit about internet safety.
Yes, the internet.
It's summertime, the kids, have a lot of time on their hands, maybe both the parents work, so they're home, alone. Can you give them any safety tips on, the internet? And
well, there's a website called NetSmarts that you can go to for advice as far as internet stuff goes. It kind of bothers me that we've been stuck in the house for a pretty hard winter we just came out of, and now these kids are, in their house on playing all those crazy games. They should be outside enjoying the outdoors, get some exercise. Parents should maybe limit the time that they can be on the internet and playing their electronic games, none of which I can give you names for because I'm a little tech limited. But they're going to end up with carpal tunnel before they're 20. Tell the kids to get outside, play kickball. I don't know if anyone plays kickball anymore. Play street hockey. Limit and know what they're playing. We went to a seminar last week. Some of the stuff is incredibly graphic. It's desensitizing your kids to violence. The music they're listening to. Know the lyrics of their songs, and you can look up on the internet to find out what these songs are all about, what the meanings are. It's pretty eye-opening and pretty alarming.
It was the when they talked about the various school shooters throughout the country, over the last few years, when they did that forensic analysis on the PlayStation game, that one of the shooters, they learned that during one of the games he had killed like 25,000 people. That's scary. It's just not right. And like you said, desensitizing that type of violence is I don't think that is what we'd like to see our younger generation be doing during the summer or any time. But unfortunately, summertime with break from school, these kids have a lot of free time on their hands, and a lot of folks work, mom and dad, and but again, you got to be vigilant and watch what they're playing. If you can, limit their access to these violent games. And I like how you touched on the music. Our eyes were wide open. Mine were in that seminar about the lyrics, and some of these songs I can't even understand half the words what they're saying in these songs. So you know, I would have to go on the computer and actually, you know, read the lyrics myself. But that was scary.
They have a lot of these artists, I guess you can call them artists, but these some of these music videos, actually musician, whatever he was, he hung himself during the music video.
Yeah, I believe
Makes
that
no
was
sense.
A rapper.
Yeah, they're throwing up gang signs. It's just it's pretty ugly stuff. I don't know if you're aware, but they actually created a video game called School Shooter. Someone put up a lot of money to produce that video game, and thank God that it was never released. But you think about that for a minute, that someone had that idea that School Shooter would be a great video game. They put up the money to produce it, did produce it, and by an act of God, it wasn't released. So it's very, I mean, Grand Theft Auto, I mean, incredibly violent. As a game, I guess, an assassin video. You just go, and you can, I don't know how it works. Apparently, you get points for killing people, and the more creative you are in killing people, the better you do. So it's very alarming, situation we're in with the culture today.
It is. It's scary, Mike. We learn all this stuff and the backgrounds and the profiles of, all these, school shooters or these, massacres that's been going on. You really got to, be aware of, what your kids are doing, what other kids are doing. If you have any concerns, you need to, give us a call and, share any concerns. If, might be a neighbor kid or, anybody. We're always willing to, sit down and talk to people if there's any concerns, and, we'd like to, get those kids, or folks help or whatever. But so with that, let's talk about some basic safety tips, more for your younger kids. Just your regular bike safety. Wear your helmet, right? How simple is that, Mike? You're on a bike, you wear your helmet. Just like you get in your car, you buckle your seat belt. It's really important. Your young child falls down, hits their head on the curb or the sidewalk, they get a brain injury. There's no cure for that. Yep. And I've met a bunch of young folks that have brain injuries, and could have been preventable. So your basic, if you're on rollerblades or anything with wheels that can come out from under you, it's a good practice. Just wear your helmet. Adults, if you ride with your children, please set the example, right? How many times have we seen, the parents aren't wearing a helmet and, and the kids are? Well, you're no different. If you fall down and you whack your head, you can get a brain injury just as easy as a child. So, you be responsible as an adult and a parent. Wear your seatbelt and wear your helmet. Last topic I want to touch on, Mike, and kind of the summer festivities, and we just had the 4th of July, fireworks. You want to talk a little bit about fireworks, Mike?
Fireworks are dangerous.
They are.
Not many of them are legal. There's a lot of stores out there that are selling them. You can sell them, and you can buy them, and you can possess them, and you can drive around in your car with them, but if you light them off, most of the time that's against the law. I do recall instance where a guy was on his back porch. He had a few beers. He's throwing some fireworks around. When he threw that M80 out of his hand, went off in his hand, when I got there, all he had left was 2 white sticks for fingers, a big flap on the back of his hand, and his wife screaming, and oh my God, where's the ambulance? And just go watch a fireworks display, a legal display. But you start messing around with fireworks, sometimes there's some pretty grave consequences. So
I recall an incident, was it last year or the year before, over in Pelham, where they had a large amount of fireworks on their back deck, and they went off accidentally. And there was young children and some adults that were burned pretty good, and that's why they call them accidents. Those folks didn't intend to have the fireworks go off in that manner, but I forget the reason for that. I don't know if it was somebody threw a cigarette or something near it or something, but something caught the whole package that was on the back deck, lit on fire, and that could have been more tragic than it was. I know a young child had to go down to the Shriners Burn Institute there in Boston, and I want to say it was like 70 or 80% burns, scarred for life. There is a website you can go to. If you go to the New Hampshire Fire Marshal's office, there is a list of fireworks that are legal in New Hampshire, and and then they also give you some really good fireworks safety tips, and also they'll explain to you exactly what's illegal, and it's dangerous.
Aside from being dangerous too, I mean, your kids, a few parents, your kids are hearing how illegal fireworks are. They're told they're illegal. If you drive down to Boston, they're in overhead on the overpasses. Fireworks are illegal. So if your kids know they're illegal, and you buy the fireworks and you light them off, what's the message to your kid? I know it's illegal, but we're having fun. So just think about, aside from the danger of fireworks, you're telling your kid that it's okay to break the law.
So with that said, please go on the New Hampshire Fire Marshal's office website, and there you can view all the legal fireworks that are legal that you can buy and set off. But again, you are lighting off something that does could cause injuries to yourself or others. So you should not be lighting off fireworks if there's been any alcohol consumed, or if there's somebody who's intoxicated lighting off fireworks. You should give us a call and let us handle that situation, because it's dangerous. It can get out of hand.
So aside from all this sad news and tragic events and rules and lots of rules, we really want to encourage you to enjoy your summer, because as you remember a few short months ago how nasty that winter was. So get outside, enjoy your summer, and just play it safe. Be nice to your neighbors too.
Mike, I think you really you did not like the winter this year, did you?
No. No.
Too cold?
Too cold.
I agree. It was a very long winter, and summer, it just jumped on us. We didn't have much of a spring, but summer is here, and folks, just enjoy yourself, and be safe, and take care of yourself and your neighbors, and remember the neighborhood community watch. If you see something, say something, give us a call. The town is very active in the summer, so have a good summer, and I will see you next month. Thank you.